Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud, and this is the Champs versus Stars 2, Episode 3, From Rainbows to Storm Clouds recap. Let's start off with just saying Brooke should know better. Get it? It's like Brooke knows best, but she should know better. Doesn't Salida say like, oh, I wish she was woke. Stay woke, hashtag woke. Yeah, the episode starts with Brooke saying like, hey man, I like all you guys and I trust everyone and I'm just this awesome positive person and stuff. And even though my father is really famous and I'm basically constantly living in the shadow of him and reference him as often as I can, I am still kind of cool, and that's great. I actually kind of wish I watched Hogan Knows Best, or Brooke Knows Best for that matter. But here I am today watching Champs vs. Stars 2, and there she is, just being nice, you know? And of course, that's not... It doesn't fit in this certain challenge where it's like all dark and like schemy and stuff like that, you know? But next we have on my notes, what does it say? Oh, shit. When Anissa, I think it's Casper, shows up and he's like, hey, man, you ready for our dinner or whatever? And basically just, you know, having a nice little scene with Anissa. And Anissa is saying, like, you know what? These stars are great because they don't think I'm an asshole. And I love that line so much because I'm like, well, yeah, you are an asshole, Anissa. Like that is basically what you are. And you get called back constantly for it. You know, producers love you. Like you've been on, I think Anissa has been on more seasons than even Johnny Bananas. I might be wrong. Or they're tied. But it's like something up there. Like, you know, Anissa has been doing this forever. But she keeps on getting called back. And, you know, it's because she is an asshole. Yeah, self-proclaimed asshole. But, no, Anissa's like, hey, man, I'm glad that there's new people in every single time they haven't watched the show, apparently. So they like me. What else do we have here? Wes, CT, and Tony, they're talking strategy in a way. But Hennessy shows up, and right away she's like, hey, fuckers, fuck you. And then she bounces off the wall. Then she's like, yeah. Anyways, we're cool, right? Fuck you. And then she bounces off the wall. Like, Hennessy is just like, I don't know. It's bizarre. You know, I feel embarrassed watching her. You know what I mean? Like, there was a moment where I was trying to get people to start watching the show, the challenge. And every single time they would tune in, something about the show would embarrass me in a way. And holy crap, I'm glad that I haven't tried to get people to watch this show in particular because Hennessy is all over the fucking place, you know? It's crazy. Okay, so next we have the mission. It's called Release the Rainbow. All I have written down here is that Wes is benched. You know, he can't participate. But in a way, he totally can't participate. He's a goddamn coach throughout this entire thing. And, you know, Hennessy is is saying like, oh, shut up, you're benched, you know. But I don't know. She's like a fucking cartoon. But everyone else is like, no. What? Like, they tactically shut the fuck up. Like, technically, they never said Wes couldn't coach us through this entire thing. That is a huge plot hole in terms of the producers, but they exploit that perfectly, even though both Hennessy and Casper are trying to sabotage shit when they're trying to discuss strategy and stuff like that. It's so ass backwards for those two. Casper, you're kind of disappointing me here, man. I understand that you have an ego and that you want to create good television by like going against the grain and whatnot, but really, realistically, you want your team to win. I know you guys are still technically Champs versus Stars. Well, not technically, but like, you know, that's the subtext throughout this entire thing. But yeah, Wes can coach. Well, going into this Release the Rainbow, I'm just going to go from blue team to red team. Spoilers, red team wins. But we're just going to talk about the blue team first and what they contributed to their loss, let's say. First is Casper. Casper is the first to complete the entire mission. You know, they have those ribbons. You got to climb through this jungle gym and stuff. And it looks great. I like the way that this whole apparatus is set up. I like the rules. Like, once you finish, you know, like when you tie your ribbon off, that means you can't go back and help your teammates. You know, that was established. Yet, Casper is gifted in terms of like athleticism. You know what I mean? And he finishes first and he clips his ribbon off. And everyone else is like, what the fuck, Casper? That means you can't come back and help us and shit. And Casper's like, oh shit. Oh. My bad, you know? I don't know. At the same time, I totally get it. Like, there's some people who aren't thinking strategy necessarily. They're just, like, so hot-headed to be, like, the best on television. And Casper is that guy, so it's fine. You know, who knows? Maybe I would be that guilty. Drake is second to complete. He had his own ribbon, as far as I can remember. And he did really good. In fact, Drake is, like... I have all the faith in Drake. You know what I mean? It might be champs versus stars. And it might be, you know, I think the champs could win this overall war. But something tells me that Drake might just make it to the end. Something tells me about Drake. I don't know what it is. No idea. Maybe it's because Casper's more in the way, more an obvious target, I suppose, because he's more vocal. But Drake is just fucking putting in these solid performances. You know what I mean? All right, next is Booby and Tony. All I remember is that fucking Tony hits his head. He lands right on his fucking skull. But he muscles through that shit, and then they do a good job. And then we have Louise and Hennessy. They do a great job as well. The last people, Tori and Anissa, don't even complete it. These two do not perform well. I like Tori. And it's not just but like I have faith in Tori. And let's get rid of faith too. Like, I know for a fact that Tori is a good competitor. And Anissa is known to show up at times. You know, like Anissa is piss poor in the final, but Anissa can come up every once in a while in missions. But when it comes to eliminations, holy shit, Anissa is like rocking a 90% average there, you know? She's really good. 85%. I don't know. I can't remember. But it's good. It's better than most females. What I'm saying is that Tori and Anissa, they lose. They lose it for the blue team. There was a moment where I was thinking, well, once they see that Casper has succeeded and it's a star, do they want to lose so that the red team overall will win? And when it comes to as a group, they will vote in the most obvious nominee, which is Casper. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, what if, in a weird way, Tori and Anissa threw the thing? I'm not going to try and come up with an answer to that. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just asking questions. I'm like Glenn Beck on Fox News. I'm like... That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, but let's go on to the red team. First, we start off with CT and his idea that basically saves the entire thing is to be like, listen, I'm going to be by myself. I will be the only person by myself. Everyone else will be paired off. But he's like, you know what? I'm going to finish first, not tie up my ribbon, thus, you know, stopping me from helping. I'm going to instead help the entire time. And Ashley's like, oh my God, that's fucking for real, y'all. I mean, like, that's real smart and shit like that. So that's exactly what CT is going to do. He's going to eventually finish first. But even before that, like, Ashley would call him over and then he would help Ashley and Salida, like, just climb on his back and push up and climb the monkey bars and shit like that. So it was great. This is a great episode for CT. Like CT is, like he is a star. He is able to display certain positives, like you want someone who's done this forever to come up with these mission winning plays. You want a general sort of outlook from your veteran, from your champion, So this is great. This is a great display. Next we have, actually, I have no idea who finishes in what order. I just know that Lil Mama and Kayla appeared to be the last to complete this thing. So I just have Jose and Devin. Shane and Brooke work well together. In fact, Brooke was like, oh my god, you're like my hero and shit. Like, you saved me a couple times when I could have fell and stuff. And I remember Salida saying like, hey, why does Brooke have to be with you, Shane, and stuff like that. And Shane is like, hey, you're being hostile and stuff. And so Salida's like, hey, you're being aggressive. And they're basically both trying to like put each other on blast for no reason other than just like I don't know. It was extremely frustrating. I can't even come up with the words for it necessarily, but it's like Salida tries to say, hey, I have a question. Whoa! What a overreaction. And Shane is doing the same thing, And he even says like, hey, Salida, you rolled my eyes. And Salida says, no, I did not. And I don't know. I just feel like they're both trying to trap each other or just lie about each other. These two are exactly the same in a weird fucking way. So no shit that they fucking get into an argument. Anyways, Shane does say, hey, I'm trying to think that we put weights together or something like that. Like, what was the argument? It seemed right to me, though, because he says, yeah, Shane and Brooke, and then they put Ashley and Salida together. I agree with that. I see those two basically the same. Ashley is a good athlete. She's pretty tall, and she's pretty thin, and that would be how it would explain Salida, So there you go. And then you have Lil Mama and Kayla, and, say what you will about them. Yeah, sure, they're last to complete, but they're able to fucking finish the thing, which Tori and Anissa did not. That sucks. That seems bad compared to Lil Mama and Kayla, but I guess everyone could say, hey, it's because Casper didn't help. But you had Drake helping. You had Booby and Tony helping. After they finished their ribbon, all of those guys could have helped Tori and Anissa. So maybe it is on them and just a bad performance. Red team wins. Fantastic. Back at the house, the red team do some MVP talk, and they decide to give it to CT as MVP, and rightfully so. Like, I totally agree. And Devin throws this fucking shit out, man. This is subtle. This is the shit that's going to be winning over the Red Stars. That's the new name for like Brooke and Lil Mama and Salida. You know what I'm saying? And Jose. Yeah. He's like, you know what? We're working together so good. And we have such a unity within ourselves. Like, look at how we all just said, hey, CT, thanks for being a team member, helping us all out for the greater good. We want to continue this thing. So Devin is like, you know what? Whoever goes in, be it me, Jose, Shane, whoever, if we lose somehow, we're going to get voted back in. And that is just, it's strong, The red team, the Red Stars, will win. Like, this is all about the Red Stars. This is the Red Champs versus Red Stars. Okay, so CT's like, hey, yeah, very good and stuff. Let's go red on 3. R-E-D, red. And they're all walking out there. And then Shane pushes CT and Devin back into the room and says, like, listen, I have an idea. Put me in. I'm going to volunteer, right? You put me in. Whether I win or lose, if I lose, you vote me back in. And that'll fucking give the mirage of red versus blue. And, you know, CT was just like, okay, so it isn't red versus blue, really. It's still champs versus stars. It was almost just like confirming it. It's like, okay, so this is, you know, like I don't know. I was, for a moment, I was like, come on, old man. You know goddamn well it's still champs versus stars, right? Like, don't get swept up into the propaganda. But yeah, Shane is coming up with ideas, you know, illusions to set, you know. It really is red versus blue. And I just want to say about Shane is that the first part of Shane's career, his first couple appearances on the challenge, he was a babyface. I guess you would say he was a good guy, basically. And then his last couple appearances, he's just decided to turn heel, meaning he's a bad guy, basically. But even with Invasion versus Champions, which was his return where he turned heel, he was still like a team player. And he really did even want to be a leader of sorts, which he was effective in. I think, I don't know, maybe Shane is just so smart and in tuned with what a show is that he's like, well, CT's technically the leader. He doesn't need any help, nor do I need to try and challenge him in that position. So I'm just going to go the dirty, like the wild card route on the team. But meanwhile saying like, okay, but CT, Devin, you guys, like we're still champs versus stars, right? This is a huge publicity stunt. This is propaganda and shit. This is what we're going to do. So I don't know. I like it. I'm glad Shane is on this team, even though he's not, let's say it together, a champ nor a finalist. Oh, next, we have a dinner. It's at that bar. I think it's at the Jamaican Bay Hotel where they're at. And once again, goddamn Hennessy is going to be extremely difficult. It's a blue team meeting, and Tony basically, I have this written down. Tony wants to unify the team. Because right away, Hennessy is like, oh, fuck you, fuck all of you, and shit like that. West tries to say shit. He's like, hey, can you just listen and stuff? And Hennessy's like, no. It's just so bothersome at this point where I'm like, God damn it, Hennessy. Like, I want to call you heresy right now. Like, everyone ostracize her. But no, Tony gives a speech. And he's like, I want to go in. You know what? Everyone's saying, like, hey, Tony should go in. Casper, like, he's said out loud plenty of times that he wants to put me in. And so I'm like, I'll go in. And if I come back, then you will know that I'm a man of my word, and it is no longer red versus blue. And this is everything that Tony puts out there. It's great. It rouses everybody there. Well, does it? Right? Like they have this moment of unification when Tony volunteers. But I think it's Booby, Louise, and Lil Mama. They're just like, fuck that bullshit. What does Booby say? He's like, we never would have had that talk if it wasn't established, obviously, champs versus stars to begin with. Let's get into the nominations. Let's see here. Oh, shit. No, we gotta wait. We're gonna sit here and wait, everybody. Hope you don't mind. Because Hennessy is running late. Now, picture all her failed attempts at humor. Picture how zany she was. Picture how quick she was to fly off the handle. And wait to see that person. Just wait. We'll start now. We'll start this in real goddamn time. I would like to know when she would get here. But I don't even think anyone shows up and says, you know, like a producer was like, hey, man, she's on her way, man. She's fucking stuck in traffic or something like that. No, wrong. They're living in a hotel together, for fuck's sake. Where the fuck is she? So Hennessy shows up 30 minutes late. I think Devin is like, hey, what the... I don't even remember what he says. But the point is that, like, fucking Hennessy shows up wearing sunglasses 30 minutes late. And then producers walk up and say, like, hey, man, could you take those off? You know, we got to see the star. And she's like, no, I have a brand, and I'm not going to look bad in this whole thing. I don't know what she says, but she's like, hey, I have a brand to protect. I can't look a certain way. You're not going to make me look like shit here. And I'm like, what do you mean look like shit? Like, are you not wearing eye makeup perhaps or something? Like, what is it that's like you just cannot show us? You know, but this is truly like, you know, prima donna bullshit where I'm like, come on. You're not even, you are the sister of someone I know. Yeah, sure, I'm all like, oh my God, Brooke is great and perfect and everything. And she's only the daughter of someone I know, but whatever. Anyways, she refuses to take the shades off, the sunglasses. And then Devin says something. I don't remember what he says, but fucking... And see, what does she do? She's like, shut the fuck up. Like, that's how she starts off the confrontation. And eventually she breaks her sunglasses on Devin's head, storms out, says like, suck my dick, N-word. Nepotism, of course. That's what she said. Everyone was like, that doesn't make any sense. Suck my dick, nepotism. But it didn't matter. It didn't matter to good old Hennessy. She storms out. Producers come in. She even does the classic, like, get those cameras out of my face and shit like that. But all for naught. I mean, you know, that was a commercial break. I was like, holy shit, is she going to leave? I wouldn't be opposed to that necessarily. You know, I really didn't feel that way because every single time Hennessy would pop off, it was over reason. Someone being, you know, the voice of reason with her. Someone trying to calm her down and say, hey, listen, you might have misinterpreted me, but I would like to put the record straight by saying, and then she's like, no, fuck you. And then she bounces off the wall. Anyways, eventually Hennessy comes back and casts a vote, right? She's like, oh, I'm going to go back and vote in Tony. Like I said I was going to, and blah, blah, blah. So she does come back for that vote. Red team, they vote in MVP CT, and he gets to have the power play, which is immunity for any female in the next elimination. Huge. That is crazy. So they're asking CT, they're like, hey man, who are you going to put in? And CT says, well, the thing is, we're all getting along so well. And we don't want to become, and he points to the blue team, that. That's not what we want. You know, chaos, you know, shit. We don't want to be that. So Shane had a great idea, and Shane stands up and is like, yep, I'm going in. And red stars are like, oh my God, this is great. This is what we've been waiting for. Like, they're eating this up. They're gullible, but at the same time, like, come on, would you not see that coming either? I don't know. I'm so torn. You know, part of me is cynical, where I am kind of doubting what is being told to me. You know, I have a terrific suspicion of authority. Like, I don't always question it, but I'm always just like, wait a minute, why did you say that? You know, I try and stay alert, stay woke, as it's called, but I'm not going to call it that. Just because it's trending doesn't mean I'm going to call it woke. Anyways, Shane volunteers. Immediately, Casper and Louise are just like, bullshit. Whether he wins or lose, he comes back. Blue team, it's unanimous vote. They vote in Tony. And now, it's going to be a rematch. Shane versus Tony 2. They originally went against each other in Invasion of the Champions. And that was great because Shane got into Tony's head. I remember him just kind of doing a mental game where he was just like, listen, man, you picked me as the weakest, right? You called me out because you thought I was the weakest. But if I win, then you lost to someone you thought was weak. But if you win, that means you beat someone you thought was weak. So, like, either way, you're going to look like a bitch or some shit like that. You know, like, he got into Tony's head, got Tony thinking, and even then, Tony was aware. He's like, man, I'm not the greatest at these eliminations, you know? Wait a minute. I don't know if Tony ever got into elimination before that moment, actually. Holy shit. I didn't do enough research to really back up what I'm saying on this podcast. Oh my God. So now we get to the red team immunity talk. And I just remember Salida saying, like, hey, I have this charity. And first of all, everyone has a charity. But she's just like, I wish that I could have money there and stuff like that, which everyone does. So I don't know. It's bizarre. But CT gives Salida immunity for next week's elimination. Salida, a star, a red star, not a red champ. So is this another, like, far-reaching plan? You know what I mean? Just to kind of manipulate and, you know, but how effective is it if you are saving a star? Now obviously if you're going to put in a champ, a red champ, into elimination and protect a red star from next week's elimination, that has to convince those red stars, right? It really has to. So let's get on to the elimination. Actually, no. Before we start with the elimination, Miz is like, hey, Hennessy is gone. She quit the show. This is not a good environment for her, and she took off. And I remember seeing that, and I'm like, well, you know, good. And it wasn't just because, like, oh my god, fuck Hennessy. No, it was just more like, well, we know that if Shane loses, win or lose, he's safe. And he's going against Tony. Now, this whole scenario of, like, Shane win or lose is safe is different if he's going against a star. But he's not. He's going against Tony. So right away, I'm like, well, what's the point? You know, I don't know. For some reason, I'm like, well, if Tony wins, I guess they could vote not to save him. I don't know. I was going into this with mixed emotions and shit like that. I guess what I'm saying is that no one is eliminated truly in the truest sense of the word. You know, because Shane loses the elimination, you know, spoiler alert. And then he gets saved, which we saw a mile away because we were told a mile away. And now no one leaves. But Hennessy does leave. She quits, you know. We don't even see the scene when she quits, really. Like, it's not a big splash. I think she's just, you know, standing outside the parking lot with a producer, and she's just like, you know what, I don't like the fact that these men disrespected me, and now I'm gonna leave because I have a brand to protect. You know, I don't want to come off as bad and shit. I'm like, well, too late, Hennessy. Too fucking late. Right away, that ties up the champs and stars, the blue champs and the blue stars. So right away, Wes is like, holy shit, thank fucking God. He's going to be totally psyched about this for the rest of the episode. This elimination is called Throwing Shade, where you take these boxes, you fucking crash them and break them onto the ground, and then there's random objects that you got to take and try and throw in the holes with the faces of your enemies and stuff like that. And, you know, this has slowly become like a go-to thing for the challenge, where it's like, it's destruction. You know, you break shit, you break crates, you bust through walls and stuff like that. I love it. I'm glad that it's here to stay and shit. But right away, you know, I'm not going to go through like every, you know, the minutia of the elimination. I'm just going to say that Tony does beat Shane. I wasn't sure how the shit was going to go down. You know, if you want to say, like, if I want to say, Shane, you beat Tony before. You beat him by mental warfare, by getting into his head. Why can't you do that again? Like, why can't you just say, like, hey, I beat you before, I'll do it again. You know, like, just say that exact same thing. Even that would count. And people would be like, oh, fuck, oh, shit. You know how fucking sheeple are. So he didn't do that. But then again, it's like, well, is this a whole overarching effort between the champs, whether it be red champs or blue champs? They're just like, no, we are in total control the entire time. I don't know. We're Thanos. That's what we are. We're Thanos in the Infinity War. All right, let's fucking move on. Okay, so yeah, Shane is beat, right? And you're like, well, we know that he's going to be saved. You know, I mean, there was a moment where they showed CT right before the elimination started. At least they showed a confessional where it's like, Yeah, sure, Shane could be fucking saved, but I would never volunteer personally. You never fucking know what people are gonna do. You know what I mean? But it's a red, it's a, I was gonna say it's a red flag. No, it's a fucking, fuck. It's a red herring. There we go. Yes, sorry. I got so mad because I'm like, why can't I think of red herring? Instead, I said red flag. But anyways, you know what? The red team, they do save Shane. Everyone was in agreement to save Shane. They're like, no, we even talked about this out loud. They're like, whoever goes in, because of what Devin said and stuff like that. So everything is working really well for the red team. Within the red team, everyone feels great. But let's remember that red team will never ever be able to save anyone again from elimination. I'm thinking, wait a minute, was this Shane's ultimate goal? Where it's like, hey, I proved myself by volunteering and I got saved, so like someone else has to go in. Like, I think it's just a smart move by Shane. Like, not only was he playing his red star co-workers, but also his red champ co-workers. Like, I think this is very shitty of Shane. And by shitty, I mean wonderful. Like, bravo, Shane. So, Miz asks the red team if they will save Shane, and they the whole red team does this like hand signal thing, and I think it's Hunger Games. I could be totally wrong and embarrassed, but I think that's what it is. But when they all do that, Miz is like, I don't know what that means. But afterwards, back at the house, Wes and Tony talk. And they're like, listen, we are sitting on a gold mine right now. We go back to Champs versus Stars, Like, Tony, what you said, your little speech and shit, your rousing speech, it was great. It was so good. And Tony is like, thank you, man, Because they both know, putting on a show is what they're both there for, Like, they can't be on a TV sitcom. They can't be in a movie. They can't be in a Marvel movie, Infinity War sort of thing. But what they have, what the platform that they have is this challenge. And Wes is like, Tony, what you said when you volunteered was fantastic. And he also says, next time, since we're tied up, we're going to vote for who we want to vote for. And even if they vote for you, even if they vote for me, we have a tiebreaker because there's been an established rule that because the last time there was a tie, it was between who was it? Oh my God, I can't remember. Cam and Hennessy. And the tiebreaker went to the person who won the last elimination. That was Casper. Of course, him being a star, he voted in a champ who was Cam. So now Wes and Tony, they're sitting back. They see the complete map. They see all the moves. They see the complete chessboard that they have to operate within. So Wes is like talking Tony up. He's like, listen, man, you know what? You fucking gave that speech. You were articulate. You were cool. You had the right amount of emotion. Let's just keep working these stars and let's work together as champs to get to that purge, to get to that final. And the fact that he brought up the purge, it does make me sad because the purge, I hate the purge. The purge is a bloodbath. A lot of players are eliminated, and it's usually at the end of a season. And by usually, I mean just recently, like the past, I want to say 4 to 5 seasons have involved this mass exodus. But no one wants to leave. It's just, I don't know. It always angers me. I always think it's such full of shit, but that's what they're trying to work towards. Let's talk about the rest of the blue team here. Oh, Casper and Booby. They're just like, you know what? We didn't fall for that shit. The red team did. But again, we're blue team. We fucking know what's going on. Our eyes are open. There's no wall anywhere near our eyeballs. And they're like, you know what we gotta do? We gotta fucking get rid of Wes. And then Tony will crumble. And I just love the precision of just so very insightful, you know? I'm a big fan of Casper. Booby is impressive because he also is aware of what's going on, you know? There we go. Overall, I still really like this season. I'm glad that this is going on. I'm glad that these are complete episodes still. You know, they could have cut this episode right when Hennessy left. And like, oh my God, will she come back or not? Because that's how shit operates on the regular seasons of the challenge now, you know? Dirty 30, Vendettas, you know, soon to be Final Reckoning next season, season 32. Every episode is cut in half, basically. You know, you have the mission in episode 1, and then you have the elimination on episode 2. But, hey, this was a great episode, great season. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe, comment. This is Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud.